Hello, everyone, and welcome to EllynwithaY Goes Live. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Oh my God, thanks for the love. Everyone likes the florals. It's a rare floral moment for me, but I am on vacation, so we're trying something a little different. I'm also extra crispy from sitting in the sun yesterday. Yeah, I'm a little bit red. I'm a little bit red. We're keeping that out of frame. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the 67th episode of EllynwithaY Goes Live. 67, can't believe it. Even more unbelievable is I am coming to you live from my childhood home in New Jersey. So we are remote. My mom in the background laughing. This is a remote episode, so call your friends, family, tell everyone. It is a rare set change for EllynwithaY Goes Live. And I'm literally here at the dining room table with my mom's plants set up. Oh, hey, Sam, that's my sister. So thank you all so much for joining me. I am so excited to do this episode. As you know, I am bi-weekly now. So it is allowing me to dedicate a little bit more time and energy to crafting the show and also having a little bit more honed message each week. So thank you for sticking with me bi-weekly. I appreciate it. The opening music was by Ty Verdez. That is a new artist. It's a song. It's like one of his only songs on Spotify. I heard it on, shocker, TikTok. Lord, let's hope the government doesn't take it away because it is a really great music discovery platform. Really cool artist. You guys should definitely check him out. And while we are on the topic of artists, the EllynwithaY show, it's weird to say in third person, but we are there's no one a part of the show, but we are very, very big fans of another incredible artist. Tattoo Money, my pal Pete, actually has a new song coming out on July 20th, which I've heard it. I got an exclusive preview of it. Very exciting. I saw him perform it live on his own Instagram Live, where he was debuting a live performance of his album On My Wands EP. And the new song is coming out, no cap. I am very, very excited. It's a very good song. So everybody tune in, follow at Tattoo Money so you guys can see that song when it drops in, I think it's like 6 days, right? 14 to 20 is 6. Math. Super excited for that to come out. I will just add it to my rotation of all of my favorite Tattoo Money songs. As you guys know, I'm a massive fan. So moving into, like I said, I am on vacation in a state that thankfully has, seems to have some things under control, looking at you, Florida. Hopefully, nothing extreme happens between now and when I plan to go home, or else I will be stuck here. Not stuck. I just meant like without a lot of, clothes. So hopefully, things continue the way that they're going in New York and New Jersey, and everyone follows suit, and I'll be able to go back to New York. I am on vacation for real, which means I'm pretty unplugged, but that doesn't mean that I don't pay attention to what's still going on in the world. I think that that's something that's really important to me. And with that, I feel like I dedicate a lot of time instead of just like binging my shows like I love to. I definitely dedicate time to social media and making sure I'm like seeing and posting and learning and unlearning. I feel like that's a big buzz phrase right now is learning, unlearning, and learning again. And I have, there's like, you see your feed, and I hate the idea of it going back to normal, this phrase of back to normal, because what was normal? I think right now we're going through a bit of like a reckoning of like, what was normal? What did we call normal? But I have, a couple of people that were really active communicating with each other on Instagram and sharing posts. And I do my best when I see a great post from a friend or even from someone I don't really know to credit them when I see the post and share it if it really resonates with me. And I have a good friend who was a coworker and also was a former guest of the show, Rachel Chen, who sent me a really cool video. And I feel like if anyone's really been paying attention, which I hope you are, and leaning in these days to the conversation of civil rights and racial justice in this country, which is very much hand in hand and intersectional with our public health global crisis is what I would call it. So it all is interwoven. And so my friend Rachel, which you guys can watch her episode of EllynwithaY, check it out on YouTube. She sent me this really great 3-part video series on YouTube with Jane Elliott. That's who I was saying, is like Jane Elliott is the kind of name that's going around a lot because of her diversity trainings and her, what she calls is not an experiment. She just more so did an exercise with her students. She was a grade school teacher in the 60s, and she did this experiment called the blue eye, brown eye experiment, where she was trying to create a similar scenario to the black and white experience in America in that time, right after Martin Luther King was shot. And from that, she has done a lot of work, a lot of research. She's been very involved and very vocal. And so Rachel sent me this video of Jane Elliott, and she was being interviewed for the Black Nouveau YouTube channel, which is a PBS network show in Milwaukee. And the interview was really, really good. It was with this man called, his name was James Causey, and they were talking about diversity and human rights. And what I found really interesting was the way that she was able to connect the dots between not only, like I said, the racial issues going on in our country, which they've never not been going on. I feel like it's oh, that's going on right now. It's never not been going on. But so she really was able to connect the dots of what's going on and how it really truly impacts everyone, and the connectedness. And she talks a lot about how we all come from the same Black women 300,000 years ago, 400,000 years ago in Africa, and how we're all cousins. And I really like that idea that if you consider people around you to be family, what would you do for them? That it's really touching if you think about it that way. Ew, I hate getting emotional on the show. And so it was a really good series, and I really just wanted to shout out Rachel for sending that to me. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it talked a lot about some things that I think a lot of women should be leaning into and paying attention to when it comes to, rights and control of our own beings. Seeing a lot of hearts for that one. I think it was a really good series to watch. That's kind of my hot topic, if you will. Was definitely, if you guys can take a look at that, take a listen. It was very, very good. And I think on that note, just something I've been thinking a lot about is, like I was saying, feeds going back to normal in some regard. I mean, I'm on vacation right now, right? I'm off, quote unquote, off the grid, and I feel like I still have a duty to be learning and posting and sharing. And I've got all the different books that I'm reading or listening to, which also there's this weird, book shaming going on where it's oh, you listen to a book. Oh, I read a book. You know what? I'm consuming a book in the way that is best suited to me. And that right now is I'm listening to it because I'm currently reading another book. So I don't want to be reading too many books at once. It might be overload for me. I am currently reading a book by someone who is going to be coming on this show in the next couple of weeks. I'm reading Bronte's Mistress by Fionnuala Austin, who was on the show a year ago talking about her book coming out and being published. And it will soon be on shelves, but most likely you'll probably buy it online because maybe people are going to the stores. I don't know. I feel like I really lean into social distancing. It like really works for me. And you guys will be able to buy it soon, but we'll have Fanula on in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. So I feel like in the last couple of weeks, I've talked a lot about what to watch. Because I'm doing the show a little less frequently, I'm going to give you a couple more what to watches. Yes, that's right, Fanula, August 4th. I'm going to give everyone a couple more what to watches because there's more time between my shows. And what I'm consuming in a week perhaps may take the average human 2 weeks to watch. A lifetime, my dad said. Yeah, like it's a skill. It's truly something I've worked hard at, consuming a lot of media. So there's 3 different, it's a movie, a documentary, and a show. 2 are available on Netflix. 1 I think is just basically anywhere. So Selma, the movie about Martin Luther King and kind of the official push for suffrage rights and voting rights that took place, and the story that went with that was I watched it a couple weeks ago. I think it was free for the month of June, so maybe you'd have to buy it now. Worthwhile. It was a really, really good movie. I think that there are sometimes a little bit of confusion about like what are good movies to be watching right now to kind of unlearn and learn and educate yourself. I think something that comes up a lot is this idea of like white saviorism, where the story is kind of centered around a white person who in some way saves the day or like overcomes their own racial bias or their own racism or their racist upbringing to then in some way save or stick up for the other like black actress in the movie. And that's why I feel like a movie like Selma, which does not have that and is about Martin Luther King and talking about what was the last really big moment in this country that I feel like we're living in now is like a big moment to really be paying attention to and learning from and what worked and what didn't work. And so that's a really good movie you could be watching right now. Another film is documentary. I feel like everyone has watched this, but I feel like I just want to drive it home. Again, like I said, sometimes I'm noticing seems like people are going back to quote unquote normal and like not posting as much. And that's okay if you don't feel comfortable posting as much. But I just hope that the conversations happening offline are as real as what was happening on social media. And the documentary is 13th, the film by Ava DuVernay, and it explores like the racial inequity of the prison system, how it came to be in America, and how it exists today as a modern form of slavery. It was fascinating. I'm sad to say I hadn't watched it until this summer. It is very eye-opening to understand the genesis of policing, but the genesis of the prison system and how quickly what I would call got out of control, got out of hand. It almost feels like it's like a beast that feeds itself at this point. It doesn't seem. I don't think it was. I just highly recommend that you watch it. It is something that. Yeah, be more. Yes, hello, must watch. I just think that for all the fun, light content that exists in the world, like, watching a documentary, it also, you could say you watch a documentary. Like, that's cool too. Points for you, cool badge. You can walk around with, your head held high that you've consumed a documentary if you don't watch many. I tend to fall asleep during documentaries, but I do like them. It just sometimes takes me a while to finish them. I just think when people just are talking, it like kind of just puts me to sleep, as I have a hosted show that I am now talking. Hopefully people are not falling asleep right now. No way. Then the final show that I will leave you with is fun and fiction, and it covers a lot. Ooh, I flipped the camera. Oh, that is the kitchen. Oh my God, people love the behind the scenes. Love the behind the scenes. So the last show that I will recommend is a show that I've been watching since it came on Netflix. It's 3 seasons now. It's Dear White People. It is based on a movie by the same name. It is so fun. It's just so well written. It's a show about like escalating racial tensions in like a fictitious Ivy League school, and it's told from the perspective of like a group of the black students at the school, and they're all different and come from different backgrounds and have fully formed identities of their own, like the lead cast. And it's also a show that makes fun of itself, especially in the third season. And there's there's like a scene where one of the lead characters is talking to his friend who like you don't really know that well, and the character is like, I need to talk to you about something serious. Stop treating me like a secondary character's best friend that just helps move the narrative along. And then it just cuts to another scene. Like they just call it what it is and they move on. It's really funny. I really very highly recommend it. It talks about a lot of, I think, important issues and also things that probably, you know, someone who looks like me wouldn't have even known about, right? And it's just a really good way. It's a fun show to learn and to appreciate. So those are 3 shows, movies, and documentaries you can be watching right now. I will not assign this as homework, but tell me if you watched any of them, and I would be happy to chat with you about it. I'm really excited because before I bring Brooke on, I'm giving you the heads up that I'm bringing you on. I'm really excited to bring Brooke on because we'll talk a little bit about how we know each other, but Brooke is one of those people who, when I say she's very kind, I genuinely mean it. I think when I was writing the like intro and describing Brooke, I was like, she really is kind. Like she's such a nice person, and she's a collaborative teammate and organized and like badass and involved in so many things that are super inspiring. And so, you know, when you sit back and you think about someone and those are the words that come to mind, I couldn't be more excited to bring her onto the show. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on quite a legend, a woman who spoke on stage at Cannes Lion, which is an international festival for creativity in France. She is the director of consumer analytics and research at Vimeo. She is a former colleague, current friend, and I am going to pull you into the live now, Brooke. There you are.
Ellyn!
Yes! It's working!
It worked. That was seamless.
Perfect. Oh my God, you look fantastic.
Oh, I was going for, chill summer night in Brooklyn.
Girl, oh my God, the heat.
Did it work?
It's so hot. The heat, I did so much less makeup than I usually do. So I was just like, I can't stop sweating.
I don't have my air on for this very occasion, just so that you can actually hear me,
Yes, same. People don't realize that. The behind the scenes is we're literally dying of heat. There's no air conditioning on.
Yeah, it's like, let me sit under this light so that they're...
This is why the professionals have like 10 pounds of makeup on, so you can't tell. I love it. Oh my God, look, everyone joining the live. Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
She was the 3rd guest on my show, everyone. Ryan, good pal. We go back.
Ryan was your 3rd guest?
Yeah, I think wow. third guest, yeah.
She was from the very beginning. And we're on, what, 67 now?
67.
Wow.
Nuts, right?
Shout out to Ryan.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Brooke, for coming on the show. I figured I would do your intro before you come up so you don't have to sit there and hear the because I know it makes people a little uncomfortable.
No, it was very sweet. You know what I like about your intro is that most people don't take the time to comment on, your characteristics or your personality. It's usually accolades and accomplishments, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Oh, of course. A healthy mix of both, right? We can be credential and we are kind at the same time.
Let's do it.
I love it. Well, so I always start my interviews asking the guest, how do we know each other? Because everyone's been listening to me talk for a while. So, Brooke, how do we know each other?
So Ellyn and I go way back to the halls of Refinery 29. I guess we overlapped for about a year and a half, 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Yeah. I was, on the research team, bringing primary research forth, and Ellyn was behind the scenes. I think her job is like lesser known, but it's so necessary for strategic functioning and operations. So you were doing your thing there, but I don't think that we really started hanging out or talking really at work until we sat on the same floor for the first time. And then I just remember you playing all the new tunes, and I'm like, what is Ellyn playing now? What is this? Damn, I need it. You always had all the Monday morning gossip, keeping us entertained and energized. So those are my fondest memories of having you in my office. Totally different environment now.
Oh, yeah. It's so fun. It's a very different work from home environment. I very much miss the that like 5 o'clock time when you're just kind of like, I need a jolt of energy. Like, where are the people around me? How can I keep going for the rest of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I really appreciate that the most. I think about my time at Refinery. It's just all the good energy around all the time.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, look.
Or not too far away. Like, you could definitely find it easily.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, so what you did at Refinery, right? So insights, analytics, the market research. I feel like I have a cursory understanding of market insights and analytics. I've worked enough alongside of those types of departments, alongside you. I have enough of an understanding and background from college, but I think a lot of times when you say like insights and analytics, it can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And if you could kind of maybe break that down, because I know I want to drive a little bit deeper. So if you could break that down at a top level for everyone before we go deeper.
Yeah. Okay. So insights and analytics are essentially a fun way of saying, how do you keep, or I don't even know if it's a fun way per se, but it's a way of saying, how can we not make decisions with just ourselves? Like, how can we not, people call it navel gaze all day long, and use that as the only primary way to build a business strategy plan. And how can we make sure that like we're just staying in tune with the demand, like with the folks who are actually going to be buying and purchasing from us. And so it's really just about like data collection from the people who are your consumers, or the people you hope to be your consumers. There's a few different ways of going about that. I think there are two primary ones that kind of work in tandem, right? Like, one is the primary research path, which means that you're collecting the information from the consumer directly from their mouth. That's cool because you get a lot of cool ideas. You get to hear, people's passion, whether it's good or bad.
Is that like a focus group when you hear them, you speak to them?
Yeah. So
okay,
that's one way of it. Like, there's a qualitative piece of it. There's a quantitative piece of it. The qualitative piece is definitely more fun. Like that's the times we used to cater at Refinery. Like, it used to feel like a happy hour with our readers, which was really, really cool. But yeah, that's one way that you definitely feel the passion. There's definitely energy there, but you hear from them too through the surveys, like that, like they're aggregating their responses, and it's a different experience, but in a way, you truly are hearing from them there too. So then once you have the primary research side of things, there is the like more behavioral data, right? Like, so that's like the product usage data that we see in like a digital experience, or like the actual sales data that you would see like in a brick and mortar retail experience. And that's the stuff you can't lie about. Like that's what we know about you specifically, and what you're clicking on and what you're looking at, and trying to make sense of what all of those trends mean. And then we marry those together and you have a customer strategy.
Wow. Okay. So that's giving everyone the context of the insights, analytics, understanding. The insights are kind of adding that color to the hard facts that are, maybe purchase behavior or things like that.
Yeah.
So if you take it a step further, I think what's really important, and I think we're in a time right now where people are trying to learn more and be empowered and understand their part in what I would consider is like I don't want to call it a game, but it does feel very much like we're all like playing a bit of a chess game right now, and we have to understand like what our moves are and like what's smart. And I keep looking and seeing the way that Gen Z is just like using technology and marketing budgets and just like really learning this. It's crazy what they're doing. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, like, why is it important? So you were saying that this is how a lot of companies like make decisions, right? They're not just like, I like to call it throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing if it sticks. They need this information. So like, why and how? Like, how are they using it now? Are they like using it to target us or market to us? Is that the tea?
Well, I mean,
Silly.
is that the tea? Is that what's going
It's
on?
like that was like the worst
I
way to
mean,
use it.
that's not a secret, is it? Like, I think at this point, like everyone knows, like, like cookie policies are so widespread across every site. Like, it almost feels like there's no way to hide from it anymore. I feel like there's going to be big money and companies coming through to kind of trying to help protect that, if they can. There are some like legal limitations that I think kind of make that super difficult at this point, you know, where we are on the web, but. Yeah, everything is for sale these days. Even, for example, one of the best or one of the coolest things I think, you know, we did at Refinery was use sales data to try and understand conversion rate and the impact of our advertising. And I think that that's like, you know, something that you don't think about at all, like in terms of like the types of people that, and there are millions of people that like opt into these types of panels that to like share their data. And then like, that's how we extrapolate, you know, to the broader population. But yeah, I don't know. It's a mix of things, right? Like there's a mix of things that we can't really control when it comes to sharing our data. And then there are like more of the opt-in situations that are super useful for my job too.
Yeah. And so something that I think that we were talking about when I love my pre-pro calls, we were talking about is what came up was when you were at Refinery and you did speak at Cannes, there was a conversation around intersectionality and how did you come to that? Because it was the first time I had really heard. It was a couple of years ago. What was that? 2017 or 18?
Yeah, I want to say 17. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the first time I had really heard the word intersectionality and really understood it in a grander sense. And then that kind of connected to like the motherhood study that you guys were doing as well. So can you take us through like how you came to being on stage in front of hundreds of people and like biggest executives in the world talking about intersectionality?
Yeah, I mean, a perfect storm. Like, what is any opportunity really? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't have dreamed that up. I had some of the most amazing experiences at Refinery. Like, it was amazing for my career.
Yeah.
I will forever give it credit for that. It was kind of a heyday. So I think just sort of being at a brand like Refinery that carries such a cachet. You know, we were approached by IMG, who puts together a women's brunch at Cannes every year, and Heida Gardner, the head of IPG's diversity, equity, and inclusion, really wanted to have a conversation. She's always trying to move the equity conversation forward, even at that time, right? And always trying to think about ways that she can get, and not just her, but you know, the entire IPG leadership team responsible, but just thinking about ways that they can get brands more deeply thinking about these things. And it's actually kind of surreal when you think about just how long people have really been trying to do this work, and just like how it feels like a light, a flame has been lit under it overnight, and just like how much more interested people are in it now. Different subjects, but it's definitely that was you know, a part of it, right? So their intrinsic desire to kind of have those conversations, matching it with a brand like Refinery, and then being there at that time, passionate about these types of conversations. Refinery is one of the first places and one of the only workplaces where I felt comfortable talking about those types of themes to some extent. So I think just like having that kind of naturally in you, and then being ready to just kind of take the opportunity is how it happened. But it was a really cool experience, you know, just being given the budget to kind of ask questions about something so broad and less talked about. So it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I could only imagine. Was like me. I remember seeing like the pictures after the fact. It was like really exciting.
Super exciting. I think Halle Berry and I think Halle Berry keynoted the brunch.
That's crazy. Oh my God. And so that kind of talks about the different types of research you were doing. So you were saying that there was like genre, and then there was like market sizing, because you had worked at Macy's and at Saks. Right. And then and now being in technology, you're looking at insights and analytics from a usability perspective. I feel like it is literally everywhere, and it is a part of everything.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way now, having seen like insights and analytics from so many different angles?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, but it's a hard job, right? Like trying to convince people that they should consider the opinions of a bunch of people that they feel like they're shepherding, you know, the product or the service for anyway is not always the easiest thing. Like
Yeah.
people want to listen to their own hunches. They want to trust in their own, minds and intellect, and as they should. But it's actually like kind of a difficult challenge. So it's one that I enjoy at every organization that I go to, is really advocating for the fact that like these millions, or not millions, or sometimes millions, often millions, yeah. These millions of voices collectively should really count for something when it comes time to making literally any decision that you are making. And so that piece of the message is consistent, right? Whether it's retail or media or tech. But there definitely are some cool nuances between the different industries that come into play. I think in tech recently, I've been at Vimeo for about almost a year now. That's just been a really cool place to play, like a space to play in, because of how micro all the decisions are. Like it's like the number of, the amount of hours and time that it takes to consider just a few clicks is really crazy. Like it's insane.
Wow.
If you kind of take a step back to think about it. So it becomes like a more interesting puzzle, the research and analytics piece of it. But, important no matter where you are, no matter what company you are. Something I am learning though, that if I ever start my own company, which is the goal, I will definitely think about data engineering and structuring from the beginning, because it kind of really sucks to build the thing and then realize that you aren't actually tracking or able to measure it in a way that's helpful for you to drive growth.
Yeah.
So that's been a key takeaway for sure.
And it's so fascinating. Like, I think sometimes people don't realize, like, if you're using an app or whatever, and like where the button is, that was like hemmed and hawed over. There were so many iterations and so many decisions about where we put the button, the color of the button, the size of the font. Is it on brand? Do people notice it? Like, there's so much that goes into it. And I think the very top of a needle amount that I understand of it from, business classes in college, to understand that there's full, different types of industries that you can go into to become more specialized in certain things, and, user experience and being partnered with the team that's doing the research and the studies.
Being on a product team, being an engineer, like it's cool just getting exposure to those types of roles as well.
And I find engineering, I worked early on in my career, I worked really closely with like the engineering team, and I realized it was another form of creativity. It was another creative outlet. It's truly a lot of engineers I know, it's more from like an artistic perspective, really. And what I think is interesting is that insights and analytics can sometimes people are like, oh, facts and figures. But it really is tremendously creative. And Spencer. We worked together. He said he was going to do this. He's going to ask me work questions because I'm on vacation. Spencer, you're so funny. I love it. He's like, can I do this? Oh my God, you're so funny. So what I was going to say is that kind of taking that step of creativity, right? And seeing, kind of a story in the insights and the analytics. I wanted to shout out the fact that you are one of the co-founders of an incredible company called Under Her Empire with Ryan Williams and Joel Cartier, who was on, both people who are on my show, because I'm like clearly an Under Her Empire stan. I'm out here to support. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about your experience with this community for creatives that is dedicated to making content that inspires and feeds, and how and what you're doing and what's going on there.
Yeah. So I think, something that the three of us have in common, Ryan, Joel, and I, is that we've seen behind the curtain of content creation, and just how easy it is to focus on the dollar sign instead of sort of the purpose. No matter how amazing the intention, it's just, it's a business at the end of the day, and that becomes like a really easy route to go, especially when you pair that with, your customer insights and analytics. You feel like, oh, okay, I'm serving the needs of the masses, like we're good here. But I think that sometimes it does take, the position of leaders, whoever those people are, to put a little additional thought into it, and to really, really bring the intentionality behind the vision that you have for the world into play, and like really stand by that, and push it through. So I think that, you know, Ryan, Joelle, and I are really passionate about that, like passionate about like doing things that matter, being of service, leaving the world in a better place than what we found it. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's like kind of the point, right? It's just to make sure that like not only are we creating an outlet for ourselves to kind of fulfill our purpose in that way, but like trying to bring in as many different people as we can to a collective purpose and vision. And I think that's been like, that's the true like driving force behind it.
I love that. And so for anyone that's watching that is a creative, you know, that might be, you know, like piquing interest, what should they do? Can they reach out? Like what can they expect? How can we drive to UHE?
Totally. Okay. Well, first thing you can do is go to @uhempire.com, or not .com, but although it is a .com, but you can go to @UHE on Instagram and follow there. That's the easiest way, obviously, especially since we're on Instagram at the moment. You can subscribe on underherempire.com. And watch out for the launch of a more formal site. I think, you know, we are in planning mode heavily. There have been some amazing projects that UHE has already put out. Shout out, here we go. But there's so much more that we see for, you know, the remainder of this year, for next year, and so on. So I think it's just, tuning in, getting down for the ride.
Yes.
Looking out for ways specifically from us that we are hoping to drive the conversation forward in times like today specifically, right? So like, how can we've been thinking about ways that we can kind of take our expertise around content generation, through conversation, through content creation, and make sure that like people are feeling heard, that like that people are feeling like they have an outlet for discussing some of the crazy shit that's going on, and feel good about the way in which they are shifting their own lives, because it's such a personal thing for each person, or obviously. So it's like it's just about how can we as individuals feel good about the direction we're moving our own lives and in our collective lives.
I think a big thing that a lot of people are reading and hearing right now is whatever your skill set is, try to use it for good right now.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really, and shout out to Ryan, who is hooking it up with all of the,
in the comments,
where to follow, what to do in the comments. I think, leaning into like, what is your skill set? What can you do? I mean, even if do you work in finance? Like, can you help them with the books? Like, what do you have to offer? And everybody has something. I feel like it's an interesting conversation that happens on the show, is that like, everybody has something to offer, but I don't feel like I have something to offer. That's often what comes up a lot for people. And that's just not true. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something that they're good at. Oh my God, my girl Shayna Tyler just joined, another incredible human being. Talk about like hustler, businesswoman. Like, she was on my show a couple of weeks ago. So another great person for you guys to connect with.
Okay.
And then also, I think anybody that has any creative outlets you're looking to support or share, or you got a song, like my friend Pete, like, you got a song, like, let's get it in the next episode of Here We Go.
Yeah, like, you make such a good point. Like, we all, literally all of us together collectively make a community. Like, no single person can do it alone. So there really has to be some sort of unified effort. And I think especially like within my friend group, there's just a little discomfort, right, with like trying to figure out how you do that, how you contribute to that, and feeling like there's no easy place to go. But I think the best advice that I can give there is just stay connected, like stay plugged into it, because the answers don't always come immediately, but like stick at it, pray on it, and you'll definitely think through your purpose and the way in which you're supposed to help out.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Aja talked about that on the last episode. So she's known me for years, and she was just saying, she's like, I feel like you're really, like, in the pre-person, I feel like you're really stepping into like your moment right now. I feel like you're really, like, you found your voice, you found like what you want to do, because I've been doing the show for a while. And she's like, and now you're like wielding it.
Yeah.
Like, you know how you want it to, you know.
Using your power.
Exactly. And it's like, these are not things like, I feel like a lot of people maybe feel overwhelmed that a lot of they need to be doing it now or maybe yesterday, which is even more overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And be creative in whatever way you can, and look at, I think of innovative thinking. Like, look at yourself in an innovative way, and like, maybe
look at your job. Like, look at how you spend your day. Like, what additional time, what additional energy do you have, right? Because that's important too. Like, don't overexert yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
But be honest at the same time about like what you can feasibly give, and do that.
Exactly. And everybody could always give just a
a
smidgen
little more.
more.
The hardworking perfectionist in me likes to believe that, but I agree. Mostly I do.
Yeah.
I tend to go on the overexertion side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hear that. Then you like you tuck her out, and you're just like, I need a break.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I wanted to make sure. Oh, I actually wanted to bring up, before I bring up the other note that we spoke about, was the fact that you guys were using creativity and your voice during COVID. We had a call about, you guys were working on a really cool video about highlighting Black and brown creatives during COVID. As we know, Black and brown people are being hit worse by COVID. I think, what was it? The CDC came out and literally blamed systemic racism for those statistics, which is like the first time that's ever happened. And I think,
I missed that, Ellyn. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was like, of course that kind of stuff goes, under the radar, that kind of information. And so I wanted to just highlight the fact that you guys were stepping in to create and to make and to highlight voices during a really difficult time.
Ellyn, man, I wish that I could take credit for that in the way that you just put it, but I can't. So two things on that note, on that point. Like, one is shout out to Jordan. I see him in here, who, is such a go-getter that, he wasn't willing to sit down during this time at all, and was like just a upstart, like a boost of energy, if you will, for me. And then I was like, okay, thanks Jordan for all of that. I'm gonna go share some of this with Ryan. Hey, should we do this thing? And then like the three of us are like really kind of, among other things, like just using that as a real outlet for ourselves, like selfishly, right? But then doing it in a sense and for a greater good, obviously, like praying on it, like really always bringing in that level of intentionality that we spoke to earlier. And yeah, I think that's where the cool stuff comes, right? Like when you really do try to stay aligned to doing something that's good for you, good for the people that are involved, and hopefully good for the people that watch it, if they watch it, then yeah, that's kind of like the trifecta.
And it was great. I mean, I sent it around to a lot of people. I posted it on my stories when you guys came out with that. I think it's really good. Like, again, what we were saying, use your creativity, use your skills, use what you have. To support each other and to make and be intentional. I think that was the biggest thing, right? We were talking about when you guys were doing this, like just being intentional, especially at a time like this. Like, if we're not really looking in the mirror right now and like really trying to figure out like, who is Brooke, who is Ellyn, like, I'm on this planet, I've had plenty of alone time.
Why am I truly here?
Yeah, like, what am I doing? Let's not create an existential crisis, but this is the time. Like, sit with yourself, think about, maybe if you can't, think about maybe why you can't, and just do a little bit of like personal mining. And often I find the best is to then take the light off of yourself and try to help somebody else, because it most often will help get something right here.
Man, that is a word. Like, that's true. I think, at least I'll speak, for myself, obviously, but like, I put so much emphasis on trying to control my life and everything that's happening around me. The idea of, focusing on someone else is actually super helpful for me at times, like, because it's almost like a way to come back to the present moment. And I think that, again, that's where the intentionality is. That's where the good stuff is.
That's exactly right. And speaking of good stuff, I want to make sure that we have some time for you. I want to talk about, you posted recently about an initiative. It's called Protect Black Business.
Yeah.
What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah. Okay. So Protect Black Business is another initiative that I'm involved in with Jordan, and Chike just joined, and another friend of ours, Sean, and countless members who have just been on the ground, like really, really driving the mission forward. And the idea essentially is that with all the looting that was going on, the idea we recognized that there was sort of this mismatch happening, right? Like people were upset, they were angry, they were expressing themselves, but at the same time they were also damaging our shit, like our communities, our the things that are a little more difficult to come by for us. And so the idea was, how can we help people, like, not advocate against whatever emotion it is that they're going to show, but just help people understand like what the impact of their actions are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so the idea was to create an image for that, like a symbol for what it takes to, or of what it means to sort of embody the action of protecting things that belong to Black bodies, and sort of helping, not just protecting them, but helping them go further. So it started, there as just like an image, right? Like, and that's still the primary goal. It's just, how do we put out something that, like, when you see it, like, it resonates as something that's really needed, and sort of that's something that people can be proud of and feel proud to patron and support. And then, the second piece of that vision is just making sure that the Black businesses that we initially support with this resources poster get ongoing support. There are so many ways that Black businesses aren't supported, like with just the sheer knowledge, the sheer resources that other businesses are. And so, as a business-minded person, I kind of attached to that, right? Like, how do we consult? How do we help? How do we just bring to the surface some of the things that we know on a mass scale?
I love that. And to create, it's creating like a form of access to resources that's giving some form of equity, that's giving some kind of something that maybe wasn't there before. I think that's so smart. I think especially, like you were saying, whenever with looting that was taking place within communities, within the community that, Black and brown communities, right? So to have a symbol like that, to know, this is a Black owned business, by doing something negative here, you're actually like doubly adversely affecting the community. I think that is incredible. I think it's really important. And I think, in the time that we're living in right now, to be able to walk down the street and to see the symbol in a door, like I want to go in. I want to go in. I want to spend my money. It's like, if it's a choice between here and here, like, let me go in. So that visibility, we're a visual people, right? We're a visual culture. Being able to just see this, I mean, we know, we know how to walk, where to go. Don't walk, don't do walk, right? So we need, sometimes we need a sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we need a sign, Ellyn. That's a tagline. Sometimes you just need a sign, and
you just need a sign.
It's a reminder too, right? Like, the road to somebody was just saying, the road to hell is paved with the best intentions, obviously. And were you saying that on a pre-pro call?
It's a quote. I really like it right now, because we have to check the intention, and I was saying, check the impact, right? It's the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's
paved with good intentions, and so we may mean to be patient, even as a Black woman. Like, I mean to do well. I mean to be better about supporting Black businesses, but a little help, like a few, like. And again, I don't know. This is American privilege, but I'm used to convenience, and I'm used to being easy to find, and a little bit of that.
Like, are we standing outside of the store, like researching on our phone, like who owns it? Da da da. Oh no, this is a symbol. I get it. Let me go in.
Exactly.
It makes complete sense.
Sometimes you just need a sign. I'm never gonna forget that.
I love it. We just do. Sometimes you just need to know. It's like, do not pass go in Monopoly. It's like, do go.
Yeah, go inside, please.
I love it. So definitely, if you guys saw in the comments too, you will see at Protect Black Business. Definitely follow if you own a business.
Yes.
Get the sign. Put it in the window.
If you know any Black business owners, even if they don't have a brick and mortar site, still have them register with us. We are sending out like digital icons that they can place on their website.
That's a great idea.
That's going to be an important piece too.
Oh my God, we got to get you guys partnered up with Etsy, because I'm shopping all small businesses on Etsy,
Yes.
all the Black owned business Etsy shops. That's like that's what I go to on Etsy now. That's it.
That makes sense. That makes so much
I
sense.
happen to know someone at Etsy, so
okay, Ellyn,
girl, I just thought of that. So we'll be connecting offline again.
That would be so cool, right? Like, I think, imagine, I don't even know what other marketplaces exist like that. I mean, I guess Vimeo, right? Like, there are creatives of color there.
Yeah.
So much work to be done in terms of just like figuring out the right way to sort of push all this forward, and also just better understanding where the hearts of these companies that have been writing huge checks are. Like, could Protect Black Business go to, you know, an Etsy or a Vimeo or any other company and say like, hey, you guys service like a huge demographic of, you know, people of color, show your support in these ways? And would they be open to that? Like, that's a question that I'm still
Well, that comes back around to a conversation I was having with Shayna a couple of weeks ago when she was on the show about, right, these companies, you know, making an effort doing like diversity and inclusion, but really what does that mean? It's not just box ticking of hires of diversity without a feeling of inclusion. And, you know, knowing that, are you creating a workplace, you're creating an environment that would be empowered to lean into a partnership like this? Are you creating a space that would not just lean in, but go further with it? I think that's kind of the time we're living in now. And that's why I want to have a conversation about like insights and analytics and people using our information, right? We have the power, we have the knowledge to know how we contribute to this system. And it's, you know, you have to, I hate to say wake up, because it's like, well, I can't with woke, but like, it's time to be aware. It's time to be aware.
I think a word that is super relevant to my life for this topic and many others is just be disciplined. Like, it's just like being irresponsible in a sense about the way in which we live our lives. It's just not gonna, it got us here, but it's not gonna take us to the next level.
No.
And so, yeah, like I think that's the thing. It's just like, what do you truly care about? What are your values, and how are you being disciplined towards accomplishing it?
That, you know what?
That's done.
Discipline. Wear your mask, socially distance, be conscious of what you're doing, how you're walking through this life.
All the things.
I like it. Discipline. Right now, let's say that's the word of the episode, is discipline. And sometimes we need a sign.
What's the problem with both of those things coming together?
Right? I think that's a great thing. Oh my God. Brooke, thank you so much for coming on. I just feel like sunshine, and you just really are such a great being on this planet. I'm so grateful that you agreed to come on the show and have this experience.
Oh, did all your guests cry at the end?
I don't know. I'm trying every week. I try not to cry, because it's been getting a little bit like it's a heavy times. It's a heavy show, but I'm really grateful for you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity, the platform, for the great preparation that you do. Like, it's all appreciated, Ellyn. We see you. We love you.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you. Thank everyone. Wave goodbye to Brooke. Awesome. Thanks, Brooke. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. So thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you for watching the show this week. Thanks for listening into my conversation with Brooke. She is Eva. Yes, Eva's here too. She is such an incredible person and is involved in so many things that I think are good for the heart, good for the soul, and good for the world. And I think we could be doing a lot more of that in this world, in this time. So thank you all so much for watching. As you know, this is now a bi-weekly show. I hope the show brought a smile to your face. That's the point. I hope that it gave you some things to think about and kind of mull over. But I hope it brought you some joy, and because that's the point of it. And hopefully you can go out there in the next 2 weeks and spread some joy, spread some love, smile at someone. I guarantee they will smile back at you. It's infectious. So thank you so much for watching. It's beautiful to see you all in the comment section. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Maybe not from New Jersey. That's next time. All right, bye. Oh, thanks, guys. Bye. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. To subscribe to my channel, click here. And to watch more videos, click here. Be sure to like, comment, and hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. Choosing